Now, some of you may be watching this and you may not be Muslim, and you're probably just interested in the fact that I'm a British girl who became Muslim and is looking to marry a Muslim. Or some of you may be watching this because you are Muslim. Maybe you're a revert too and you're going through these struggles. Or maybe you just want to know what it's like for a revert and you want to know how you can support a revert in an Islamic way that follows the Sunnah. I'm about to tell you about some very, very personal struggles that I've had as a convert to Islam with a daughter who's divorced. And I'm also going to give you some tips on things that I wish somebody had told me when I first became Muslim, things that I really needed to hear. So stick around, there's going to be a lot in this video. Firstly, I want to say that Islam is a perfect religion. It's the people that aren't perfect, which is understandably so. Nobody's perfect. No one in any religion is perfect. We all have flaws. We're all just trying our best. So it'd be wrong to look at the people in a religion in order to judge the religion. So firstly, I want to say that the way Islam has told us to get married is a very beautiful and perfect way to get married. And I want to start by telling you the story of my non-Muslim friend who I was talking to recently actually, who has a daughter. She's a single mum, and she was asking me about how I'm looking for a husband as someone who's got a daughter. And you have to remember, people who are mums, we care for our children a lot. So when we're looking for somebody, we are looking for somebody with good qualities, not just for ourselves, but in order to be good fathers, to be good husbands, to be good role models for our daughters or sons if you have a son. So when we're looking for somebody, we are looking for somebody good. Like, the person who I'm looking for now is very different to the person who I was looking for when I first became Muslim and I had no children. I was still very lost. I still had a lot of ways about me that were wrong. I still had a lot to learn, and I was still young, and I had a lot of damaging traits. But now, the person I am now, the man that I'm looking for, it's very different. When there's a child involved, a child that you have to protect and look over, you will make sure that you do your best to make the best choices. So this woman, my non-Muslim friend, she wants to get married. She asked me about how I'm looking for a husband. And I explained to her the way we do it Islamically. And as a revert, it's not really the exact same as someone who's born into a Muslim family. As if you're born into a Muslim family, you automatically have a wali who's a father or a brother or even an uncle, and I don't have that protection. So I explained the way that I'm looking for a husband, and I said that I'm looking to be introduced to somebody, and in modern days, sometimes it's online, sometimes it's in person. And when I'm getting to know that person, it's very important that we don't overstep boundaries, doing things like touching or making sure things are in public. There are a lot of boundaries we have to be careful about overstepping. I said this to her, she said, "That's really good actually, that's actually really good." I was like, yeah, you know what, it is really good, because you can actually get to know somebody, who they are, without the lust side. And it's always a battle, right? There's always going to be lust. It's so hard to battle against that. And then I explained to her the situation of the wali, and I said that what's going to happen is a wali is going to come in, ask the man things. It's very awkward for women to ask. So the wali will ask things about finances, about responsibilities. All those questions is very awkward to ask as a woman to a man. You know, the wali will make sure that he's serious, that he's a good person. The wali may even go out and look for character references from maybe the local imam of the guy's area or family and friends. And when I was telling my friend this, she was like, "Oh my God, I need that in order to protect me and my children. I need that." I was like, yes, it's the perfect way to do it. She was just so stunned by the process that we have on getting married that she was just like, why doesn't everyone do this? And it's true, in order to protect ourselves and our children, it is an amazing way to do it. And there are so many things Islamically that we do when it comes to marriage that are very different to the Western way. And I strongly believe that what's prescribed to us in the religion is the perfect way to do it. Now, it's not to say that the people are perfect. There are a lot of struggles. Oh my God, there are a lot of struggles as a revert trying to get married that are just, oh my God. The International Open University, founded by Dr. Bilal Phillips, is one of the world's leading Islamic universities online. They have a blend of programs that combine both authentic Islamic education and modern subjects, things like Islamic studies, Arabic, business administration, Islamic banking, psychology, education, and information technology. It's great because you can study anywhere, at any time. You can get an accredited degree at a very affordable price. I personally love studying online. I can carry on working. I have a daughter, I can carry on mumming. There's so many things I can carry on doing, and I can also study as well. I absolutely love studying online, and it's such a great university. They have so many great subjects, and it's authentic Islamic education. I can't emphasize how great this university is. If you're interested in any of these subjects, then I highly recommend signing up. Admissions have actually already started. The link is in the comments and the description. And if you sign up now, you can get 10% off. If you sign up before the 1st of March, you get 10% off. Already great prices. You can get 10% off using my link. So guys, please try it out. Let me know in the comments how it is. I personally use them and I think they're great. Back to the video. The first thing, number one, if you're a revert and you're trying to get married, you have to get a wali. You have to get a wali. It's difficult, but you have to find somebody, a local imam or a brother who has amazing character that you trust. You have to, it's so important. And if you don't know where to go, where to get one, message me on Instagram. Just find my Instagram, Aisha Rosalie, and message me. It's so important. If you don't get this, then things can go wrong very quickly. We can fall into like this lustful state and just marry for lust and not think in our right minds. It's so important that we have someone who can be there to vet you and to think with a clear mind that's not infiltrated by lust. Because actually, when you are falling in love, the stage of falling in love, if you look at the brain scan of someone falling in love, it's very similar to a meth addict. The areas of pain and pleasure are lit up the same way the brain of a meth addict is. And I think it's worth remembering that you're not in your right mind when you're in love and you're falling in love. I'm very aware of that, and I fall in love really hard. So having a wali is so important for me. So please, if you don't have one, message me. Some men may take advantage of the fact that you don't have one. So that's a struggle for a revert, is we don't automatically have a wali. And I just can't stress enough how important it is to get one. The second struggle as a revert is one that I wish I didn't have to say, and that's the intercultural marriage. I am somebody that loves other cultures. As you may know, I speak Urdu, I speak Arabic, I speak Bahasa Indonesia, which I'm not that great at, but I've been learning for a while. I know a lot about other cultures. I cook different cultural foods. I just embrace cultures and I love people from other cultures. But since my divorce, I have been trying to get married. I took around maybe a 6-month or a 9-month break. I mean, it's been nearly a year since I've been divorced now. So I took around a 6 or 9-month break, and then I started looking for a husband again. In that time, I did a lot of personal work, so much personal work, in order to get over all that had happened, to make myself a better person, to realize all my flaws, and to become better and where things went wrong. And I have been talking to people again. I have been meeting people. There was somebody who I was supposed to get married to, and you know, we were talking and he promised marriage, and we met quite a lot of times, and my wali approved of him. And when he told his parents, it really didn't go well. It really didn't go well. And I don't want to give the ethnicity of this guy because it will paint that culture in a bad way. But just know this happens in lots of different cultures. But when he told his parents, they actually blocked him and they refused to speak to him until he stopped speaking to me. So this is probably sounds very scary to you, but this is what happened. And this is actually something that happens. It's happened to my friends. One of my friends was speaking to a guy who she was supposed to marry, was going to marry him, and his mum said that she will go on a hunger strike until he stops speaking to her. And I don't want to scare you if you're a new Muslim or Riyat, because there are plenty of families that are not like this, but they do exist. And I think there are a lot of families that are really scared of inviting somebody who's not from their culture into the family. And I get the concerns, but more needs to be done by the Muslims who are born into these countries. More needs to be done to get rid of that racism. And number 3, being divorced with kids. Being divorced with kids is, to a lot of people, it's not an ideal situation. A lot of boys you meet, and I'm saying boys here, will not like the fact that you have kids and you're divorced. And a lot of men as well, actually, I shouldn't be patronizing. A lot of men as well, they won't like that. And that's preference, you know, everyone to their own. Like, I don't judge that. You can completely, if that's what you want, then go for it. If you don't want someone who's married with kids, then don't go for it, because it's a big responsibility. You have to be 100% into it. And so there's a whole nother struggle that comes with that. And I get a lot of people sending me dating profiles of their sons, and it will always say in them things like, will you marry a divorced woman? No. And it always makes me cringe. But you know what? It's a preference. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the greatest of men, from the greatest of men, is the greatest man. He married Khadija radiallahu anha, who had kids. She had kids, and he accepted them as his own. And he had other wives as well that also had kids. And when people like non-Muslims look at the polygamy of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they sometimes forget, one, that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was in a monogamous relationship with Khadija for 20 years. It was just him and her, and then when she passed away, radiallahu anha, he then had other wives and then was in a polygamous situation. And most of the women that he married were divorced and had kids, were widowed, were women that sometimes were actually known to be ugly in society and sometimes were known to be beautiful. He married from the kindness of his heart and not for lust. It's really important to remember that. So yes, it is a struggle being divorced and having kids, but it shouldn't be a struggle because there are pious men out there who have the means to support and they want to support the vulnerable of society. So don't give up, that's what I'm saying, but that's one of the struggles. And then number 4 is the struggle of where to meet somebody. Using websites is kind of the number 1 way right now. I personally use websites. I use the marriage websites because it's kind of the only way to meet people for me. I mean, there are other ways if you know the right kind of people. But the thing about these websites is really hard of reverts is reverts will get a lot of attention, but very few serious people. And I know this from experience. I get a lot of attention on there, but there's not that many serious people. And from the experience I had with this guy and his family rejecting me, you know what? I've probably been rejected by every Muslim family when it comes to marriage ever. So it happens to me a lot. Without ever meeting me, by the way, or even knowing my name, just the fact that I'm a revert from UK. But here are some things to look out for to know that somebody is good, that somebody is serious, and they're the right person. These are the tips that I wish I was given when I got married the first time. Things to look out for. These are the green flags. Someone who prays, very important. Prays, shows piety, kindness, pious actions, goes to the mosque, all things like that. Just someone that you can see cares about their religion and praise. Someone who's responsible, someone who's mature, I think is very important to look at their timeline, look at the kind of person they are. Are they responsible? Do they have responsibilities? Do they shy away from responsibilities? I think it's really important to look for someone who can stand up against the storm, who has responsibilities and will fight for their responsibilities and won't just run away when things get tough. So look into their life and look how responsible they are. Someone who's caring is really important. You don't want someone who is shut off. It's just shut off from you and the world and their emotions. You want someone who's caring. So look out for someone who shows that they care. How do they interact with people? How do they interact with even nature? Or just find ways to have a look to see if they're a caring person. For me, I always look for the way they talk about other people in their lives, who they care about, the kind of things they say about them. I think that shows how caring someone is sometimes. Another big one is, how do you feel when you're around him? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like he listens to you? Do you feel like you can be yourself? You can be free? This is really important. How you feel around someone is really important. So I always, when I meet someone, when I come back from that meeting, I will check in with myself and I'll really think, how did I feel around that person? And in order to know what somebody's like, look at their priorities. What does he prioritize? How does he spend his day? When you're having conversations, what does he talk about? If you can look at the priorities and you can look at the way someone spends their time, that's the best way to find out what someone's priorities are. Look at the way they spend their time. And once you know what his priorities are, you can get a judgment of whether you feel like he's a good guy or not, whether you feel like you have things in common, which is important, but it's not the be all and end all. And I think something that I've been told, which was really good advice, it's not about finding the perfect person. It's about finding someone that's good enough. And I know that doesn't sound romantic, and I'm so sorry to not be romantic, because like the Western standard has always told us like one day you're going to meet someone and fall in love and you're going to know it's right. But honestly, if you meet someone that's good, that's a good person, that's willing to grow, that's open-minded, has great qualities, maybe you guys don't have everything in common. Maybe you have different personality types. That is okay. You're not going to meet someone that ticks every single box. Meet someone that's good enough. I'm sorry for not being romantic. But yeah, that's my advice. And inshallah you found goodness in this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I pray that if you're looking for someone, you meet someone, inshallah. And if you're a revert like me going through these struggles, I'm so sorry. It's so difficult, and inshallah you'll meet someone as well. Thank you guys for watching. Assalamu alaikum.